Right, so about a week ago, I made a video explaining how I make these little ghost guys. I sort of showed a little demonstration of how I made them and all that. And at the end of the video, I showed like a little picture of all the ghosts that I made. And a lot of people have asked me about something I didn't show how to make, which is this little dog. A lot of people seem to have liked that, and the little guy walking it. And a lot of people have commented sort of, how did you make the dog? How did you make the dog? And I decided I'm going to do this little video now to show you exactly how I made the dog. So obviously you need exactly the same thing as the last one. So you go back and look at my last video. I'll put that at the end of this video. There'll be a little box that will show the last video. So if you go back and look at that, you'll see how I sort of made the rest of the ghost, everything you need. You basically need a few little things. You need like PVA glue, some water and PVA glue mixed together in a bowl. You need wire cutters, some wire, just basic garden wire. You need some old cloth that's white. That could be like I'm cutting up an old bed sheet. You can use handkerchiefs. You can use anything like that. And you need a marker pen, obviously, for the eyes and stuff like that. So if you look at that video, it'll tell you everything that you need, and then we sort of jump into this video where I show you how to make the dog. So enjoy. Right, so first thing you'll need to do is you get your sheet. Basically cut out a square sheet of, like, as I said, I've cut out of a bed sheet, so I've just cut a chunk of square out of that. You then fold it once, twice, and then you fold it in a sort of diagonal position, like you see I'm about to do there. So you end up with like a triangle, basically. You're looking to get like a cone-shaped triangle. Then, with the scissors, you kind of cut a slight curve from one side to the other. See, I'm being very, very careful not to chop my fingers off. I'm sorry about my camera angles. It's really difficult trying to hold a... I've really got a good setup, I ain't gonna lie. I'm just trying to get like the camera in front of me and try and record through that and watch what I'm doing at the same time without cutting my fingers off. So, as you can see there, I've basically made like a cone now. So when you fold it out now, you get basically a circle. You get a nice little circle. So there we go. There's our circle. It doesn't have to be perfect because your ghost doesn't have to be perfect. I actually quite like it when it's not perfect. So here you can see I'm basically going to fold it back up again because it's quite large. So what I'll do at this point, because it's too big, I'll take it again and I'll trim it more there. I'm just going to telling you what I'll do, basically. I'll trim it. So there we're going to build our stand. Now again, this is where I use my super duper ice cream scoop because it seems to be the perfect way to do it. You can use anything round, really, like cylinder shape. So there we make a circle, then we bend that in and that gives a stand, see? It's kind of like a spiral with a stick sticking up of it. But that gives us a nice balanced stand for our ghost. Or our ghost dog in this case. So right, okay, I'm going to stop this for a second because basically I was supposed to show you that you stick a smaller ball onto a bigger ball using a piece of wire. Sadly, I forgot to press record when I did that. I continued on. So here we've got the continue on. So I'm cutting one of the smaller styrofoam balls in half. So we've done that. That is basically going to be my ears. I then take the other section, the other half, I cut the end part off, and that's going to be my nose for the dog. And this is how I would have shown you how I stuck the two balls together. So you basically take a small piece of wire, you stab it through the ball, and you attach the nose part. So basically the bigger ball is the body, the smaller ball is the head, and then you've got the nose there, and then you attach the two ears to the side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim off one corner of the ear. So you've basically got like an eerie sort of shape, or a dog's ear shape, obviously. Again, I'm using a small piece of wire, I'm pushing it into there, I then push it into the side of the dog, and that gives it one of its ears. And then I'm going to do the same thing here with this one, where I trim the little edge part off. So it makes it basically fits flatter to the dog's head, that's all I'm doing it for. Trim a little bit of wire. Stab that in there. And I'm going to attach again the ear to the other side. Now you can see roughly what it is. I mean, it's obviously not perfect, but you can see roughly what it is. It kind of looks like a rat slash pig slash dog slash cat. But that's basically the shape you need. You just need to get the basic outline underneath that cloth. And then we bring in our bowl, and our cloth I've already chucked in now. So now you basically soak it as much as you can. You squeeze out all the excess. And I'm squeezing. And And I'm going to get this, and I'm going to stick it straight over the top here. Yes, that's basically, I squeeze a load of glue into a bowl and put a load of water in it, mix it up together, and you kind of get like a very thin white looking stuff. So that's what that is inside the bowl. So here I'm going to try and get my ghost dog formed, which is quite difficult because the shape is really hard to do. So what I tend to do is, like in one of the previous ghost videos, I get a bit of wire and I wrap it around the neck. That kind of pins the neck in. So when the PVA glue and the water set, it will give like more of a defined shape to your dog. And you curve it around. So you're pinching it in a bit more to give that head and neck sort of a defined shape. Now, last time I did it with the previous dog, the one you see at the top of the screen there, I just sort of left it and it kind of bowed in by itself. But this one didn't seem to want to be doing that. So I kind of cut this idea on the fly, what you're about to see here, where I get more wire and I'm going to wrap it around the ears as well. And that should hold the shape of the ears to make them more defined. Something I didn't do last time, because I said that last time I did it was kind of sort of naturally kind of did it. So here you go. I'm going to use this wire here to try and curve around the ears to make the ears more defined. There we go. Okay, first I'm trying to hang it over there, but then I realise I've got to actually wrap it round. Trying to adjust your sheet as well, because you kind of want it to cover the whole thing. You don't want to be sticking up too high. You kind of had the idea of doing a towel after I was doing this. So I thought, I'm not going to mess around with it now, but maybe putting like an extra piece of the ball cut up underneath the back so you kind of get a tail. So you like that, you do that. You take your other bit of wire, which I'll put over there. Now the thing is, because I've done the glue, my hands are slippery and sticky at the same time. So it's actually quite hard to manipulate the wire. That's something you'll find when you're doing it yourself. Once you're using the watery glue, your hands do become a little bit weirdly sticky and at the same time slippery. And it is kind of becomes harder and harder to do. And the more you try and manipulate the ghost material with sticky hands, the harder it becomes. So there we go. So that's me making the shape of the ghost. Now you will find it becomes more top heavy one side than the other, so it'll keep falling over. If you use that stand, you can kind of get balance. Just kind of rock it back and forth till you find where you need to be. So there we go. There's our weird looking thing. So the idea is once that dries, I'll take off all those bits and we'll have a firm, solid ghost. So I'm going to show you the old one now to save time of how it is. I took the marker pen, painted the eyes, took off the older metal bit, because obviously once you take off the metal thing around the neck, it will actually hold the shape. Then I took some of this garden wire. This is a thicker sort of garden wire from a garden centre, but it's got a green coating. I'm going to use that to make the sort of dog's lead and collar. So now I'm going to show you how to make the ghost man, because that's something I haven't showed you yet. So to make the man, because if you look at my ghost I've got in the top there, you can see he's got an arm reaching out. So I'm going to kind of show you how I made that. So again, you make your stand like you did with the dog, and you make your stand exactly the same way. I tell you with this tonight, you actually make it longer to make the man, because you're going to need the extra length, as you're going to see in a minute. You then take this wire here. So what you're going to do now, you're going to start wrapping them around. So you roughly where you want your sort of arms and shoulders to be. You're then going to loop it around like that, so it kind of holds it in place, but it will move around. So you kind of have to loop it again, and that makes it a little bit more firmer. See, I've sort of looped it one side of the sort of middle, and then the other side of the middle there. And then I'm going to take this, wrap it around there, because otherwise you'll find it will slide up and down. So you kind of got to anchor it in place, which can be a bit of a pain, but you kind of got to work it like that. And once you find it doesn't move up and down anymore, you're kind of perfect. So there we go. So that's where I've done that. Now I'm going to trim the ends of the wire. It doesn't need to be too long, so you need to think of that sort of length of an arm and a hand sort of thing. Then you take the smallest ball and you stick it on the end. And you take your sort of medium-sized ball, which is going to be your head. Obviously, there I've realised that the head's going to be too tall there, so I'm going to trim a bit off. I'm going to stick the head on there. And then like with the dog and like with all the other ghosts I've done, all you're going to do is you're going to lay your cloth back over the top of that. So as you can see, that's me trying to show that that's the shape you want. And then you lay your cloth over the top. Now, instead of me obviously going through all that again, I'm going to take here. So basically what I do now, off camera, but I'm going to try and move it back on camera. Here we go. I've realised I've done it off camera now, so I'm going to take a little snip there and make a little kind of little hole. So all you need to do is a tiny little hole, and you take your end of your wire and you just slot it in there. And they basically just stand together quite nicely. I've knocked that a little bit over, but they stand together really nicely. And that is your dog, basically. Yeah, I'm going to show you around the other thing. That is all you need to do. And I feel sometimes the more imperfect it is, the better it looks. So I've seen what I tried to do one that made it really perfect, and it just didn't look as good. I like the imperfections, like the random like bits of sheet in that. So that's how you do it. And that's how I did it. It's just so simple to do. I mean, it takes a little bit of time. Probably take you about 15 to 20 minutes to do a ghost. Obviously, overnight drying, that takes all night to once it's dry. But once you sort of get your shape done, it's good. And I mean, if you want to mess around, make random different types of animals, you can do whatever your imagination takes you. But yeah, so have a go yourself. That's how I did the little dog. That's the sort of shape you need. I mean, I'm not the most artistic person on the planet, but I give it a go. And if you have more skill with art, I mean, if you want to, dry brush it to make it look a bit more detailed, if you want to change the colours up, if you want to add more things to the dog, maybe get a real proper collar and a real proper lead, you can do whatever you want. Maybe walk in a dinosaur if you want. I don't know, maybe make a dinosaur, make a whole menagerie of animals and stuff. But the thing about beauty about this is your imagination can do whatever you want. So play around with it, change the shape inside, do what you want. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you have a go yourselves, really, sort of get a bit more creative, because as I said in the last video, I'd like to be more creative and maybe do some more fancy colours, give them some sort of scenery or backgrounds for the ghosts, which I haven't done that yet, but who knows, still got a long time while till Halloween to make my little display, so I'll give it a go at some point. But yeah, have a go at making the ghost dog yourself. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a big thing about this ghost dog at the minute. It's like I think it was in TK Maxx, they bought like a statue of a ghost walking a dog, and suddenly everyone kind of went mad and everyone's trying to buy it. But if you can sort of make it yourself, and you sort of, it didn't cost me almost nothing to make. So I think the polystyrene balls was $4.99. Big box, a little box full of them, all different shapes and sizes. That was from Amazon. And obviously the bed sheet was an old bed sheet off the cup, so it cost me nothing. And the garden wire was like £1 a reel if you go to like a garden centre or like B&M or Home Bargain sort of place, you get £1 a reel for those. So it generally hasn't really cost me much. It's just stuff I had around the house. I had PVA glue because the kids have got PVA glue, and I had water from the tap. So none of it's really cost me anything. So yeah, make them yourselves. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you share it to your friend if you know anyone's sort of interested in crafty stuff or want to make their own stuff. Obviously share it around, and happy Halloween when it gets there. All right, see you later, guys. Bye. If you, again, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. See you later. Bye-bye.